Now, the pain at the pumps continues from midnight tonight, so it's going to cost more for petrol and diesel. Now, tomorrow's price hike won't be as steep as initially anticipated. That's thanks to government's move to cut the fuel levy. Let's get more reaction now to the story. Avapani Chilfularo from the South African Petroleum Industry Association joins us now live to discuss this. Thank you very much, Mr. Chilfularo, for your time here on All Angles. Now, my interest is to know whether SAPIA actually has seen any trend. Are you seeing, according to your members, perhaps people filling up less?
Look, generally, when there's a massive price increase, we tend to see more and more people rushing to beat the fuel price increase. And there are so many other, like the banks, all the loyalty companies that are also encouraging people to rush to buy fuel before the price increase. So, I think we've come to expect that every month, if there's a significant price increase, you will see people rushing into the pumps.
So people would ordinarily rush to the pumps probably on a day like today, right, before midnight strikes. But what do you see the trend becoming after that? Are people filling up to full capacity, basically full tank probably on the night before, but as soon as the hike kicks in, maybe people are not filling up as much?
Yeah, so what do you normally going to observe on a day like today where the price adjustment, on product like diesel and paraffin and LPG is quite significant. You'll see people, they will probably buy, bulk, if it's paraffin, if it's like things like, LPG, they will buy more than one cylinder, if it's like a car, what is going to happen? There will be a rush today. The following day, you'll start to see that the fuel stations are quite empty because people will be full for another 7 days, and then they will resort to their normal refueling patterns after that.
Oh, all right. I don't know if you've seen, there's been a picture that's doing the rounds on social media of a certain petrol station that has put up a notice saying that petrol attendants, or rather motorists, have to give their car keys to petrol attendants and let the petrol attendant fill up first, and then they'll get the car keys back and drive off. Obviously alluding to some criminal acts of some drivers probably filling up and then driving off before paying. Have you seen any of that, or have you received any complaints from your members with an increase to that type of crime ever since the petrol price has gone up so significantly?
No, nothing like that has been brought to our attention. However, that phenomenon is not really uncommon in the petroleum industry. I've seen in other parts of the world where people they will refuel and then drive off without pay. So you'll expect that as the fuel prices are increasing and it's becoming very expensive to refuel your car, there will be people who are going to take chances. But I think it would be kind of drastic to normally expect people to behave differently. If you normally visit your local fuel station, why should you suddenly be asked to hand over your keys when they don't do it all the time? That sounds very unusual. It has not been brought to our attention.
All right. Mr. Chilfularo, just lastly, we know obviously that the fuel levy, the news around the fuel levy is very positive to the consumer. But the Retail Association actually spoke to, the Petrol Retail Association actually spoke to ENCA in the past few hours, and they're suggesting that petrol stations themselves or managers themselves decide on a fuel price to basically just enhance competition. Are you in agreement of that?
Look, I don't think we've got an issue in terms of what kind of framework that the government wants to implement. If the government, it's the case now, choose to regulate the petrol price, our members are very comfortable to work within that system. Should government want to opt for a different system which will allow for the individual service stations or marketers to set their own prices, I don't think that should be a problem either. Our members operate in various markets across the globe where there is competition. So I think all that is important is that, I mean, if there's a change, just need to be discussed and then everybody give an input, because if you are changing from a regulated system to a deregulated system, you will need to have some transition in terms of how the whole thing is going to work in practice, so that there's no chaos, and also to make sure that all the competitors continue to adhere to the rules in terms of the quality of fuel that's been sold in our garages.
Well, thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. Mr. Abafani Shifularo, he is from the South African Petroleum Industry Association.